Stories and Sue's autobiography. It's called What Else? Calling the Shots. It's out now.
You're watching BBC Breakfast. Time now is 8:59.
Hello, good morning. This is BBC News with the latest headlines. After a chaotic week on the financial markets, the Prime Minister and Chancellor will today meet the head of Britain's independent economic forecaster. The government continues to defend its plans.
We had to act really quickly last Friday to give people the confidence on energy.
And with the price of energy going up tomorrow, how is the current economic uncertainty affecting you? Let me know any thoughts or questions you have about your energy bills. You can reach me on Twitter at Annita BBC and use the hashtag BBCYourQuestions. Moscow prepares to hold a ceremony to mark the annexation of occupied territories in Ukraine, but the United States says it will never recognize Russia's claims. Meanwhile, Ukraine says 23 people were killed when a Russian missile hit a convoy of vehicles carrying civilians. Search and rescue efforts continue in Florida after Hurricane Ian caused widespread destruction. Record numbers of nurses are quitting the NHS in England. More than 40,000 have left in the last year. And Steve Wright will host his final Radio 2 weekday show this afternoon, but stresses he's not retiring and that he'll continue at the station. Hello and welcome to BBC News. The Prime Minister Liz Truss and Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng will meet the head of the Office for Budget Responsibility, the UK's independent financial forecaster, this morning. They'll be discussing the fallout from last week's mini-budget. While the watchdog offered to prepare a draft forecast in time for last Friday's mini-budget, that offer wasn't taken up. Forecasts from the OBR give an indication of the state of the nation's finances, and there have been calls for a forecast to be published in the last week. Since it was announced at the end of last week, that mini-budget has faced widespread criticism, including from the International Monetary Fund and former Bank of England Governor Mark Carney. The turmoil has seen a large gap in the polls open up between Labour and the Conservatives, just ahead of the Conservatives' conference, which begins this weekend. Meanwhile, energy prices will rise for millions of households tomorrow, but the increase has been cushioned by a government cap on the cost per unit. A typical annual bill will go up from just under £2,000 to £2,500, so around £500, but will be further mitigated by cost of living payments. Ministers stepped in after an 80% increase in domestic gas and electricity bills was anticipated following a hike in wholesale prices. Our first report this morning is from Simon Jones.
Seeking to regain the confidence of the markets. In an unusual move, both the Prime Minister and the